The department had absolutely no choice.
A nearly 2-year Denver7 investigation, and the state takes action.
This facility will not be allowed to operate.
Accusations of putting patient safety at risk inside Clearview Behavioral Health, and the state moves to shut it down.
Unable to abide by an airline's mask order.
Ava was diagnosed being autistic level 2.
Tonight, despite having proper medical documents, a woman and her daughter say they were kicked off a Southwest flight and forced to find another way to get back home.
How they handled the whole situation it wasn't called for.
Using the pandemic to find his passion.
The reaction was instantly crazy.
This furloughed worker is now turning his side hustle into a successful new business. Insiders are calling it an historic move. Nearly 2 years after Denver7 investigates first exposed problems with patient care inside Clearview Behavioral Health, the state suspended its license and shut it down.
We've aired more than a dozen reports exposing critical failures behind closed doors at Clearview, including accusations of Medicare and Medicaid fraud, holding patients longer than medically necessary, even accusations of staff stealing from patients.
And we've uncovered the death of a father of 2 who was given powerful drugs and left unattended. Chief Investigator Tony Kovaleski has been uncovering the truth since January 2019. Tony, this started with one dad, one patient.
And one phone call, Ann. His son was being kept inside against the family's wishes longer than they wanted. He started the story. Dozens of others called with other even more disturbing complaints, all describing Clearview as a business focused on profit and not patients.
There was an immediate threat to life and limb.
And that's why the state took the most serious action possible.
When we entered the facility, we immediately identified significant violations.
And this video confirms the concerns discovered by the state. Our cameras rolled as patients were removed from the facility. The decision came just a few days after the state conducted a surprise inspection. It came after inspectors got a clear view of what was happening inside. Problems so significant, the state made the decision to close Clearview.
Effective today, they are no longer in operation.
The move follows months of complaints from patients, family members, current and former employees, all asking the state to hold the owners of Clearview accountable.
Are you saying that they billed for services they didn't provide?
Correct, especially group therapy sessions.
Who's making the decision on discharges? Is it the medical professionals or the money managers, the administrators?
The administrators that are making the decision, and nobody says anything.
What does that say to you?
That it's all wrong.
2 insiders have said to us that this man, this father, didn't deserve to die.
No, he did not.
If he were better cared for, would he be alive today?
Certainly more than likely.
Denver7 has confirmed a former employee filed a complaint that sparked the most recent unannounced visit. His accusations included fraud and violating patient rights.
This organization was not able to operate the facility in a safe and appropriate manner on an ongoing basis.
Has the state ever done this before?
No, Tony, at least in my 17 years here at CDPHE, we have never closed a behavioral health hospital.
Now, the state also telling us they found a lack of infection protection for COVID-19 in the facility during its inspection last week. We reached out to Clearview for a comment. When we identified ourselves on the phone, the call taker hung up. Attorney General will now continue the investigation and the process of officially closing Clearview. Ann?
All right, Tony, thank you for that. And tonight we are learning 49-year-old Patricia Rowe lost her life when her house exploded in Gypsum on September 17th. Investigators say that explosion was caused by an underground gas leak after crews working to install fiber optics cables hit the gas line. It is not clear if that company will face charges.
The man accused of shooting and killing Adams County Deputy Heath Gum is on trial for the second time this year. The first trial back in April was declared a mistrial. Now, Deputy Gum's partner, Deputy William Booker, took the stand today. He was on scene that night back in January of 2018. Booker spent hours talking about how the foot chase that ended in a deadly shooting. Now, the DA's office is calling this a clear ambush of a man in uniform, saying Deputy Gum was already on the ground when shots hit him. The defense argues Treon Deering was acting in self-defense, claiming Gum shot first and Deering feared for his own life. Now, Deputy Booker will resume his testimony tomorrow.
A Brighton woman and her 5-year-old daughter were kicked off a Southwest flight over the weekend when the daughter, who's autistic, wouldn't wear a mask.
The mother tells Denver7's Gary Brode the airline needs to change their policy.
Okay, can you wait?
Ava Breitman is struggling with her emotions after a traumatic event over the weekend.
Her whininess, not waiting, is totally from what happened on Saturday.
The 5-year-old has level 2 autism.
She has sensory issues, causes meltdowns, all that kind of stuff.
She and her mother, Kelly Breitman, flew Southwest to Omaha from Denver nearly 2 weeks ago with no problems. The flight back was a different story.
How they handled the whole situation it wasn't called for.
Breitman says from the time she and her daughter checked their bags all the way to when the mother and daughter got on the plane, they were told Ava must keep her mask on.
Please put it on. I was trying to get her to put her mask back on. She wouldn't. Manager guy comes back in to the plane and he said, "Sorry, ma'am, but we have to deboard you because this is policy. She has to be wearing a mask."
Breitman says Southwest employees ignored a doctor's note that Ava may have difficulties leaving her mask on because of her illness.
But I'm telling you right now, not all kids are going to wear a mask because of the sensory issues involved with that.
Jesse Ogus at Firefly Autism says his organization actually teaches kids with autism to wear a mask.
Problem is educating these companies, educating our airlines.
We asked Southwest Airlines if their policy should be changed. They responded saying, as of July 27th, there are no exemptions to Southwest face covering requirements. After being kicked off the plane, Breitman says Southwest offered a $50 voucher for another flight and refused to grab their bags, which stayed on the plane to DIA. As the Breitmans were forced to rent a car and drive 500 miles home.
It will take multiple therapies to get her back on track and feeling like she's safe again.
In Brighton, Gary Brode, Denver7.
Boulder County Public Health is changing its strict guidance to prohibit gatherings of any kind among 18 to 22-year-olds in the city of Boulder. CU students called the health order unfair and unsafe. Now the health department is allowing for up to 2 people between the ages of 18 to 22 to be together. Some students were concerned about walking alone late at night on campus, but for this 21-year-old, he says he's already graduated from CU, he still lives in Boulder, and calls this health order unconstitutional.
I didn't realize until my roommate and I went to a restaurant and they carted us at the front entrance and told us they couldn't serve us. They're calling out this small group of people, 18 to 22, when some of us are being more careful than some of the 30, 40, 50-year-olds out there.
Now, the Boulder County Attorney's Office says the order falls within public health's legal authority to address this public health crisis.
Today, we added 411 new cases of coronavirus. Our state count is more than 69,000 right now. Now, the good news is the state positivity rate is below 3%, and the goal is to stay away from that 5% threshold. And our hospitals also in good shape. Only 3% of available hospital beds are occupied by coronavirus patients. And globally, a grim milestone. We have surpassed 1 million deaths. Here in the U.S., we have the highest death toll out of any other country with more than 204,000. And in terms of cases, the U.S. is averaging about 40,000 cases a day.
A Colorado man found the ultimate way to rebound. He mixed his passion and culture and turned it into a full-time job.
Denver7's Eddie Guajardo found his side hustle of making kimchi is now a big hit. And after losing his job, it is helping him get back on his feet.
I love to cook for people that I care about.
Toss in extra time and love for kimchi.
So this is my mom's recipe.
A Korean staple.
Think of sauerkraut, but give it a lot more spice.
Virgil Dickerson makes it from scratch.
We are doing this in my home kitchen.
The recipe is classic with a hint of new, making it a hit with family and friends.
The reaction was instantly crazy, and people started tagging me in dishes they were making with my kimchi.
He gave out 500 jars with mom's stamp of approval.
She said that this was really good kimchi and maybe even better than her own kimchi.
And the pressure mounted.
There's like, when are you going to start a business?
On Dickerson's 45th birthday, he launched Cream Kimchi.
Cream stands for Kimchi Rules Everything Around Me, which is a nod to the Wu-Tang song.
A business born in a time of need.
During the pandemic, I was laid off, furloughed, and lost all my clients. So I went from 3 jobs to none, and now I have one job.
Kimchi now pays the bills. You can get it at the Penn Street Market or online.
From the very get-go, I sold a ton of jars, and it hasn't slowed down.
His advice: your current situation may be the perfect recipe for a career change.
We can't change everything right now, but if you can share what you love with your community, you can make an impact with the people around you.
Addie Guajardo, Denver 7.